Tori Harry.
Okay.
Jerry, what do you think about Ironheart's marketing or lack thereof until recently? Okay, so for you guys how long ago did they film this, roughly? What's your rough idea? 5 years?
5 years ago. 4 or 5.
Okay, so they filmed, John, can you find that info, roughly?
I'm on it.
I hear him hacking. I actually looked over because it was like, tick, 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 like
Yeah.
that was such a moment, like the
Okay.
glow of
Seth
the
Green in
computer on his
Italian
face.
job.
Yeah. This guy's
The principal photography for the miniseries began on June 2nd, 2022.
Yeah.
Also in Chicago, late May 2022. Main filming wrapped in early November. Additional photography in February to April 2024.
So 3 years ago, the core of it.
I know enough industry people, like real industry people. I won't name drop anyone. And I bet they wouldn't want me to, especially with what I'm about to say, is that when I think about some of the backlash that this has gotten, one thing I know that is circulating right now, and weirdly, I feel like because of Sinners, people, I think Hollywood studio people are kind of in like, what do we do now? Is the DEI thing, right? That talking point of DEI. There is some studios who are definitely at a shift of like, we are not going to do DEI anymore. None of this inclusion. And I know that is part of the optics around Ironheart. Not saying that is the case. A lot of the common hate that we see in terms of the character is, you know, female black Iron Man that they have done. And we don't agree with that. We've already made our points about the character and the trailer reaction. So part of why I feel like they held off on that is do that percentage. I don't know how big. That's part of it. Secondly, and the reason I said Sinners is because Sinners is I believe, I was telling this to John, one of my phrases that I've been saying lately is when I think more specificity actually equals more universal appeal versus the opposite.
I agree. If you make something that's for everyone, it's for no one.
Exactly. When people try to go like, let's go broad and accessible for everyone, oftentimes it actually makes it less appealing. And Sinners is so specific on its voice, its culture, its references, its time, and it has
purpose because of that. I think when you make something broad, it loses purpose.
And yeah, you can connect with it more. And so, yeah, like that conversation of like studios like algorithming, AI script generating, trying to figure it out. Like,
how do we do Ryan Coogler, but also not upset the racists? We need to be mindful of the racists. Their money cashes. We need the cash.
Such a it's like, well, if you're only doing the race thing for pandering, it's not going to work. How can you not pick up on something so obvious?
51% or so of people want the whites.
It's pretty obvious. So that's one part. The other part is it might genuinely be just a bad show. It very well could be. The fact that they've held off on it for so long, and yeah, they've had it. It's like they've had it waiting to hit the upload public button for a very long time.
A while.
And they just haven't fucking done it. Like, people saw the trailer a long time ago, and if it was a thing where they could use it to reverse the conversation around the MCU as failing or heading downhill, I think they would have done it. So the likelihood that it's only an okay show feels probable to me. I feel like it's probably, you could like throw Ryan Coogler's name in there, but he is just the producer of it.
I think if it was exceptional, I think you're right. They would have been like, we got this good one though, and they bring it out when the conversations turn sour.
Yeah.
I think if it was really bad, they would have not released it at all. Like, there's a chance they would just be like, we don't have the ability to get bad press. I think it's probably okay.
I think it's probably just okay.
I'm excited because I like the footage we've seen, but we've seen 3 minutes of it, and it's a 6 episode, 30 minutes, 3 hours. Like, so 3 minutes of 3 hours, the rest could be bad. But I like the ingredients enough and the footage enough. I'm excited, but it definitely feels like a show that is going to be a lose-lose to talk about. Because there's the people that are already saying like, oh, when this flops and everyone's like, it's because she's a woman or a racist. I guess I'm a misogynist racist. And the people that are going to like it just because it's a woman of color that'll get mad at you for saying you don't like it. And then they'll be like, ah, and I'll get the Agatha thing again. So like, no matter what, this isn't going to be fun. But I hope for Dominique Thorne. I hope for Bendis, who wrote the character. I hope for the creators on the show. I hope for Ryan Coogler. I hope it's as good as it can be, and that the people that want to be open-minded and see how it is do tune in, but the marketing hasn't supported that for those people.
Well, also Wakanda Forever, her appearance in there, it wasn't universally beloved. It really wasn't. It was real hit or miss for a lot of people. And I don't know. I'm one of the people who thought they weaved her in. Like, I think she served a purpose. There was expansion on her appearance, obviously to set her up, but being kidnapped, and then having to go save her.
And technology and Shuri, and also the fact that she was cast when we had Chadwick Boseman still with us.
Yeah.
They did chemistry tests together. A lot of people were like, oh, they just threw her in to do the show. And I was like, except for when Chadwick was in that version of the original sequel, like they were going to be, she was already in it.
And beyond that too, the suit did not look good.
That's my biggest issue with her, is when I think of the movie and I think of her, I think of the CGI. And that's not a good sign. I think of her as speaking just like Bendis writes. I think of like Dominique. I think of Riri Williams highly, but Ironheart poorly.
Okay, I get what you mean.
And that's not fun, because like I think that movie is really special and really unique, and a lot of the things I like about that movie have nothing to do with Ironheart. When I think about that movie, I think about the emotional weight and how much it made me feel a sense of mourning and somberness, and all those things did not connect me to that character. But when I think about the science elements of Shuri and her growth into Black Panther, and I think about MIT and the best fight, one of my favorite fights in the movie is on the bridge, that's based around Riri Williams. So that works for me. But then I think about Ironheart and then I'm like, but not visually. Like, so it's a really tricky feeling, but I don't have a strong negative. But I'm also coming from a place I love in the comics. And in the trailer, which I rewatched with my fiance last night, 'cause she hadn't seen it yet, I clocked that there's a great supporting character from the comic books that I love, who's like Riri's best friend, who's always like, you're a mess and let me help you figure this out. Like, she's that fun, supportive Genki type, and she's in the trailer, and I was like, oh, she has one line. But I was like, oh, the comic! And like, it felt like cool because it's a character I actually really like from the comic. I also clocked like a cool other, series of visual like references and things that make me feel like they're really focusing on the comic. But I don't know if that's going to be enough or matter, because as I said, the people that already think they're going to like it and the people that already think they're going to hate it, they don't need to watch the show to have their opinions. And that's what's so messy about this era we're living in, is I will be accused of already liking Superman, whether I've seen it or not. And that's why I can't talk about it. Like, I can, but it's not going to convince anyone otherwise. So it's kind of moot. I think there are corners of the internet that are doing reviews that have already made their review before they've seen the thing.
Yeah. And I think it's our job to do our best to focus on those who actually, instead of keep having to prove ourselves. One of the long talks I had with John on the other thing we've been filming is how I've grown to view comment boxes as its own personality, its own human being in a way. It's like, even if you had a video with only 5,000 views, it's impossible to get 5,000 people on the same page as you, unless you're a religion that enforces, that
comment them below.
But if it's an opinion, the odds of you getting 5,000 people to agree with you, the odds of getting 100 people.
I was going to go way smaller. I was going to say like 100 people is insane.
So it is weird how in the social media world or YouTube world, everyone eventually, when they start doing this, they will get the moment where they're like, I keep getting these hate comments. Everyone has to eventually contend with that.
Yeah.
And it was after we did our Fantastic Four trailer reaction when we were saying, we were very nuanced. We have a lot of positives and the other negatives, and we knew exactly what people would say. Exactly what people would say. Like, I'll give an example of something that happened with me this week. We shot our Mission Impossible Final Reckoning review several days ago, and it went up yesterday as a day. 2 days ago, Jeremy Johns put up his review, and he said, what you're going to hear a lot of most likely is, I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I liked it. And I'm like, that's exactly what I opened with. What I said. And my point is, like, I can be part of the camp too, where like, oh, my predictability statements are coming out. And after Fantastic Four, when I messaged you that night, I was like, it's weird to go through a bunch of negative comments about stuff we said and be completely unaffected by it.
Yeah.
Because it's like that's just the way comment boxes work.
That's how it was
the way it is.
Our Ironheart trailer, I read some of the comments.
Me too.
And
Same thing.
I was like, oh, well, that's expected.
Predictable as
It
shit.
didn't actually affect me because I knew it was coming. I think when it's like personal or it's about like your integrity, those affect me. Like I that one week where someone asked like, how am I going to be able to talk about DC stuff and still be honest? And like they weren't being malicious, but plenty of people are. And I'm like, I've always been positive. It's not like I just got positive when I started working with a company I like. Like I have always erred on the side of like, even if I don't like something, I'm going to front load positivity and then we'll talk about the stuff we're worried about. But that's been my entire, it's not new. So that's going to continue. And so it's exhausting when people, you know, I'll see comments on like Reddit that I'm not even like, you know, I don't check those corners of the internet often, but I'll see like, well, he says he likes everything and he only talks about stuff he likes and all those things. And it's hard because that feels like an integrity thing when I'm letting people know from the beginning, that's what I do. So it's like, if you want to weaponize what I do as an insult, I'm not sure your goals, but also like, feel free to not watch.
Yeah.
So like those people can also feel free to not watch.
Yeah. And, you know, if you've evolved into one of those channels that thrives off of negativity and hatred. It's like we were watching Doctor Who, and John said something that I was like, damn, that is so like an efficient way to profoundly say so much of the internet.
Oh, like people who hop on the bandwagon specifically to start hating immediately.
Yeah. Like that, like as if they had an interest in this.
Yeah.
But now they're going to act like they were interested.
I've loved this fandom for 10 years / last month. And now that it's got this thing I don't like, my last 10 seasons are ruined that I will watch soon.
It's a Disney Plus show, and it's so low stakes, Ironheart. It's low stakes. You know, it's big stakes for those involved because they want it to be received well and for their hard work to be seen. But it's a low stakes situation.
Did you watch This Is Us? The show?
No.
Okay.
No.
There's a fantastic actress from This Is Us in the show, and she's also got one line in the Ironheart trailer. And it really hit me that when I was watching This Is Us, she was like a young girl that gets adopted by the family, and she is like really removed. And it's kind of like when you take in someone and they don't trust you, and then when that moment happens in the arc where she starts to trust, you feel connected because it's been like a long payoff of like, oh my God, they're opening up to the family, and like this adopted kid feels like they're part of the family. This character Deja has that in This Is Us, and that whole arc really impacted me. But it was over the course of like years, and the actress that plays Deja is in Ironheart.
Cool.
And I didn't recognize her because they shot it so long ago that she looks like pre-opened up to the adoption family Deja. So watching this, I was like, that must be crazy for her because she did the biggest network show drama at the time and booked a Marvel movie. And I haven't seen her since. And she probably thought this was going to be her big break. She's got a Marvel show. Yeah. So when I look at art, I come from a place of like, why would I crap on something I can't make, you can't make, we can't make? And then the people that are making it, they didn't write it, they didn't direct it, they're doing their best. I'm always going to look for the positive for the people that watch that stuff. I'm always going to keep an eye out for that girl that I was really excited for her to get her big break. Like, that's what matters to me more than whatever the bandwagon negativity makes someone get that rush of dopamine gets.
Seth Rogen said, I'll never forget it, on the Diary of a CEO podcast.
I didn't know he did that.
Yeah, I did it years ago.
I need to check that out.
And it's kind of fun watching because you can see Steve Arlen trying his best to like make it really serious. And Seth Rogen keeps like bringing it back to how Seth Rogen is.
Yeah.
And he said something about how if more critics knew how much hurt their words cause, they would probably not be so harsh, you know, find different ways of approaching how to talk about stuff while still being critical.
Yeah.
And that
really it's your tone. It's not what you're doing for me. Yeah. Like I can give a movie a 3 on Letterboxd and, you know, be like, that's how I felt about it. But I'm not in the comments or emailing these people being like, why did you take 2 hours from me? Yeah. And that's what it feels like when you're reading a lot of these comments is like personal. Yeah.
And the more, the more like we get some success and meet people, it's like, I have to maintain my honesty. I feel like I get more honest over time, honestly.
I agree. Like Mission Impossible 7, we both were like, I don't want to I don't want to talk about bad things in Mission Impossible. We love Mission Impossible. The Mission Impossible 8, we were like, these things were flawed, but we still are glad we were here.
Yeah.
But we were much more open to say the negatives with 8 than 7. And that's our growth in 2 years with the comfort of that. But we still weren't coming from a malicious place.
No.
I'll never forget the one of my favorite. Do you remember the show, like, what was it? Spike Network? Spike. It was like the Man Show was on it. And
Spike
like
TV.
Spike TV. Spike TV had an award show, and it was the only award show to ever honor Fight Club, obviously. Fight Club is not an awards darling. And I remember one of my favorite interviews with Brad Pitt was he was talking to like Ann Coulter, and she was like, what's your next project? And it was in like 97, 98. So like peak beautiful boy Brad Pitt, like just an angel of a man. And she's asking what he's up to, and he's like, well, I'm working on a project for underprivileged men and a little boxing club they develop in order to get through their feelings. And being like, oh my God, like that interview is so perfectly twisting what people are going to see. And then years later, the MTV or the Spike TV Awards awarded Fight Club Best Movie.
Cool.
And Brad Pitt, Ed Norton, and David Fincher accepted the award themselves, and they went up on stage, and their award speech was reading all the negative reviews by name.
Oh, wait, I saw that.
And calling everyone out and pointing to them.
Yeah.
They were in the room, and
That
they were
was
literally
great.
calling everyone out. And that specificity and that ability to show the people what actually happens when you say this stuff and what it actually means to read these things out loud from the people that you're speaking to, that stuck with me. And that's how I want to perceive what we do. Because so many people watch like that make this stuff.
Yeah, it's weird to grow over time and get more honest, yet also be more sensitive
Yeah,
to
it's
like
harder.
other people's and be more considerate.
I think it's
Yeah,
called maturity.
Maybe.
I mean, being considerate and also being honest, I think are two cornerstones of maturity that are lost in a modern society.
1,000%. Well, guys, are you sick of Ironheart? Leave your thoughts down below.
Not yet out Ironheart.
All right, last topic.
Oh, can I say one more thing about Ironheart? Just because it's ironic.
Ironic heart.
Ironic heart.
What is it, Coy?
This is just nerdy.
Yeah, what's up?
I think it's funny that Ironheart was made into a black woman, but if you look at Iron Man and you made it into the scientific phraseology, it would be female because Fee is iron and male.
That is for the chemistry nerds in the crowd, and I love it. Check your period. We're going to throw the periodic table up on screen so that you can find that.
That joke's just for me.